In this video, I'm going to talk to you about plugins for WordPress. I'm going to explain what they are, the kind of functionality that you can find. I'm going to explain to you how to install a plugin and how to update plugins as well. So let's go and have a look. So you may be asking yourself, what exactly is a WordPress plugin? Well, a WordPress plugin, if you think about it simply, is basically just an extension of WordPress. So it's additional functionality and very much in the same vein as an app for your smartphone. You can install functionality to your WordPress website to accomplish just about anything. Woocommerce, as you can see over here, is actually a plugin itself. So that's one of the functionalities that I have installed at the moment on the Simple Stores website, the demonstration website. Here's another one, which is the storefront footer copyright text. So this little plugin allows me to change the text for the footer on Woocommerce. That's the Yoast payment gateway, which is another plugin, and so on and so on. And that's how basically how plugins, well, that's what a plugin actually is. Okay, so at the moment, when you go to plugins menu item on the left hand side here, you'll see that you have the installed plugins. These are the ones that are currently installed on this website. Then I have a link to add any new plugins. I also have that same link up over there. And I've got plugin editor down over here. Now this you probably never ever going to use. This is the coding aspect. And you'll see it gives you a big fat warning. It says we don't recommend that you edit anything in here. So I'm going to switch that right back off again. Okay, let's get back to safety. Now, at the moment, as you'll see here, I have got several plugins installed. And one of these is WooCommerce itself. And what you'll notice is that there's a little red notification icon up here saying that I have two plugins that have got updates. So if I look over here, I will see that there is a new version of WooCommerce available, and it's version 4.2.2. To update the WooCommerce that I have is really just a case of clicking update now. But before you do this, you just need to make sure that if you're updating an app, if you're updating a plugin, you need to make sure that the other plugins or anything else that you have running in your WordPress installation is going to be compatible with the update. Usually you would see any warning signs over here that would tell you that this plugin has, or this new version of the plugin has not been tested with your current version of WordPress, etc., etc. So there are quite a few warnings that will come up that you can investigate in more detail if you so wish. Generally, it's a good idea to try and keep your plugins as up to date as you possibly can, but by its very nature, with WordPress being an open source piece of software, you may find that there will be conflicts. If you update one thing and it moves on to a different version of a certain technology, it might break functionality of a different plugin, and that can become quite confusing. So my normal advice to anybody running WordPress is that they should be very circumspect about the plugins that they choose to use. And obviously, the fewer plugins you have, the less chance you have of actually running into those kinds of issues. If you're going to be running dozens of plugins, then it becomes a little bit more complicated to work with. So yeah, if you're running an online shop, try and stick to the plugins that are only necessary for you to run your business online. So let's take a look at WooCommerce here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually update this because this is not mission critical, and because I have no conflicting warnings or anything like that, I'm quite sure that making this update is not going to break anything. So I'll click on update now, and you'll see that it runs a little animation here to tell me that it is updating. It takes a few seconds, and there we go. It's now updated. And I can do the same thing with the Yoast payment gateway. Now, what happened before was when Yoast brought out their version 1.02 of the plugin, there was an issue and it actually broke the website. So I alerted them to that, and they went and fixed it fairly quickly. I see that they now have a new update or new version of this, If I click on this link here, it'll give me the details of what is actually changed in the plugin since the previous version. So you'll see that here is the change log, and that's basically a rundown of everything that's changed. Okay, so I think it's fairly safe to install the plugin. Let's do it, or update the plugin. And once again, little animation telling you that it's updating. Alright, so I'm just going to quickly click on the dashboard now to make sure that it didn't break, and it didn't, which is great news. So now you'll see that under my plugins, there's no more little alert over here. So that's all looking good. Alright, let's get back to the installed plugins list. Okay. What if I wanted to do something different on my website? Let's just say, for instance, I wanted to start taking bookings or something else, something that is outside of the scope of the Woocommerce platform as it is. So I would go over here to add new plugins, and this will give you a featured grid list of plugins that WordPress thinks you might be interested in. And here is a list of popular plugins. So you'll see that there are a few here. This one here is actually quite useful. This is the Yoast Seo. I'm not going to get into too much detail about Yoast at this particular juncture. We will look at that in more advanced videos further down the line. Here is a list of recommended plugins, and I don't know how they can say what is recommended or what isn't recommended, but basically it's over there. And there's also a list of favorite plugins. Okay, so if you've marked any plugins on WordPress.org as favorites, it'll pick them up on the screen. All right, so I'm going to go back to the general library of plugins, and I want to look for a plugin to make bookings. So I'm going to type in bookings there. The search engine will now go and bring back all the bookings plugins, or any plugin that has bookings as a search tag. The first plugin that pops up over here is this one here called Appointment Hour Booking WordPress Booking Plugin. And if you have a look at the detail here, you'll see that it has 5-star ratings from 204 users. There are over 10,000 currently active installations of this plugin, and it was last updated 2 days ago. So that is a very good thing. We can see that the author of this particular plugin is quite proactive, and that they are making changes and updates on a very regular basis. It is compatible with this version of WordPress as well, so that's looking good. If we start looking a little bit further down the line here, we'll see that there's another one here, WCFM, Front-End Manager for WooCommerce, along with booking, subscription, etc. There's a whole lot of information there. This one also has 5 stars, 20,000 active implications, and it was installations, and it was last updated 2 weeks ago, also compatible with your version of WordPress, and so on and so on and so on. And you can see that as you start moving down the line here, you'll get to some plugins that do not have such great reviews. So for instance, this one here, although it has 30,000 active installations, if we look at the reviews, it only has 3.5 stars, and 99 people gave it that rating. It was updated a week ago, so I'm not sure why it's getting bad ratings. What I would typically do is I would go and have a look at the more details. Now, when you click on more details, it goes and fetches all the information relevant to this specific plugin from the WordPress repository, or App Store if you prefer that term. So this just explains what is actually going on with this particular plugin. And over here are the ratings. So you'll see that it had 49 5-star reviews, but at the same time it's got 24 1-star reviews. So if I click there, it'll open up a new tab in my browser, and it'll take me to a page of ratings on the WordPress.org website. And you'll see here that we've got a bunch of people that are very unhappy with this plugin. So for me, that's a very strong warning sign that it's not something I should look into. So I would probably just abandon all hope with that one immediately. And I'd start looking for an application that has been around for a while and has got very good reviews. Here's another one, a WordPress Simple Booking Calendar. and you'll see that it has 10,000 active installations. So if I go to the more details over here, I'll get a breakdown of what is actually being reviewed. 163 people gave it 5 stars and only 4 people gave it 1 star. So if I wanted to investigate this, I would click on the 1-star rating and see what was actually the problem with this plugin for these 4 people. And it says free version is pointless, it does not work in a custom post type, error when installing plugin. Okay, now in my experience, invariably you would get a bad review from a few people who maybe didn't quite catch what was going on at the beginning, and I think in this case I would be quite happy to give this plugin the benefit of the doubt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install it, and I'll show you just how simple this is. So you click on install now, and you'll see over here that it is currently installing. This may take a minute or two depending on how fast your internet connection is. Alright, so now it has it's installed, but it's not active, so I need to click on this activate button, and as soon as I do that, you will notice that there will be something else that appears on my menu over here. So if I go over there now, you'll see there's the WP Simple Booking Calendar. If I click on this, I will be able to start working with all the different options and settings, and I'd need to learn how this app works. And that's pretty much how you would do an app installation, or sorry, a plugin installation. Right, obviously there are plugins for just about anything that you could ever want to do online, and that's one of the beauties of WordPress, is that there's a lot of intellectual property out there for WordPress. So unlike something like Shopify, for instance, where you're reliant entirely on somebody who specializes in Shopify development, WordPress is global, and just about everybody will be able to work with WordPress. So it's a really, really good solution for anybody wanting to do a website. Doesn't even have to be an online shop. I've been using WordPress for well over 15 years now, and it's been great. Okay guys, if you have any questions, don't forget to just put them in the comment section below. And of course, if you have any friends who would like to get a Simple Stores website or learn more about WordPress, you know where to send them. I'll see you in the next video.